Greetings, this is Linda Schiller Hanna at Inner Kid Keto, segment 95. Today's topic is misplaced anger. Everyone in the world will have justifiable reasons for being angry. Someone is cruel to you, someone hurts you, someone steals from you, someone murders someone you love. We get that. And especially if you've been abused as a child and there was a power differential, or you're a woman and you've been abused by a big man, or you're a worker and you've been abused by your boss or taken advantage of, or you're a government worker and your government has laid you off without reason. There's a lot of reasons why we may have justified anger. Unfortunately, in many societies, there is no healthy, safe, normalized way to release that anger. And so what often happens is some of us have been known to just spew it out willy-nilly when we get a chance. And I want to out myself as a person who has done that in the past, and I am here to apologize energetically, symbolically, to each and every person I've ever done that to. I think it was Maya Angelou that says, when we know better, we do better. I know Oprah repeated it. I am doing better now. I invite you to think about and review in your own history times where you might have acted out in a cruel or mean way when it wasn't really justified, just because it was easy. One of the places that I used to do this a lot, I don't do it anymore, but when I used to do it, was back in probably 20, 30 years ago, when I was much less powerful, much less healed, much less in touch with how to take care of myself and honor myself. And I still had a lot of bottled up hurt, anger, rage, feelings, trauma, side effects. Again, I can see thousands of hands raising like, oh, I've been that, I've dealt that, I've known that. Of course I've experienced that. I think life on planet Earth gives most of us opportunities to really hold hurt, grudge, anger over long periods of time with very few safe outlets. So I'm going to tell you some of the places I let it go and what I've learned to do now. One story happened at a bank. I believe back in probably, 30, 40 years ago. I was in LA, I believe. And I was at a bank and I needed to cash this particular check. It wasn't my own branch. It wasn't my own bank. It was like, they already made it awkward. And there was a long line, busy day. And when I got to the counter, I was told I couldn't cash the check. And I went off on the poor young woman behind the desk. And I think she had to tell me no. And I steamed and fumed and walked away. And I got back in line again. I think a different line, because I still wanted to get the money. I haven't got the exact details right, but this is the gist. Meanwhile, I realized they had hurt her. I saw her cringing. I saw her walking with less confidence. I had really been rude, and I had been rude to her in front of other people and embarrassed her. She was young, and I was strong. I finally get to the front of the next line, and I say to the clerk, could you please find the supervisor of that other woman, the one that I had yelled at? And she knew it had gone down, and okay, and she went and got the supervisor, and she brought the supervisor over, and I said, I just want you to know that the lady over there that took care of me was gracious, professional, courteous, a true asset to your bank. And I'm very sorry that I went off on her, and she deserves a commendation, a raise, or something. I really messed up. I don't even remember if I got the check cashed, but I do remember that there was this look of shock and relief that went through the staff, that I actually owned up and apologized immediately. I feel good I did the apology, and I feel bad that I was so rude. Looking back, in those days, I had a huge reservoir of hurt, anger, pent-up pain from early child abuse, relationship abuse, boyfriend abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence. And I didn't have good resources yet. I hadn't worked out, I hadn't healed enough. I hadn't found healthy ways to clean all that up. I know some of you are probably saying, oh yeah, I can relate to that. Thank God I've had enough recovery, and I'm learning to take responsibility for my shadow, for my acting out, and try to do better. Many of you, probably almost all of you, have had opportunities where you got yelled at, put down, blamed when you were entirely innocent. It's real hard to deal with. For years, I would let my anger go on customer service reps, particularly on the phone, when I didn't have to look them in the eye, when I could just yell and hang up and be rude. Oh my God, I feel so bad about that. Now I do the opposite. From the minute we get started, how are you? How's your day going? By the end of the call, I always say, if I get an interview or if anybody asks for a review on you, I'm going to give you 5 stars. You're amazing. I'm bending over backwards to make sure they get praise for their fine work. Symbolically handing back to those I have trashed in former years. It's too late. I could never find those people. But wherever you are, whoever you were, I'm so sorry. A lot of people bully people because they were bullied when they were little. Bullies often pass it on. I don't know if you know about the Southern Poverty Law Center. It was founded by Morris Dees. It's in the South. You can look it up. It's a nonprofit, Southern Poverty Law Center. And they do things like sue the Ku Klux Klan for abuse. And Morris Dees is an attorney. And they have funding, and they have a center. And people from all over the country support them. And I've been a supporter of them for a long time. And they have free resources for schools, videos, things like that, to give to schools just for the asking on how to stem bullying in the classroom and in the school ground. So if you're a parent or a teacher or a principal or a school counselor, or you know of a bullying situation, you might get in touch with the Southern Poverty Law Center to get a hold of that material and make sure it gets distributed to your local community and used. One more story about customer service. My sister Teresa lived in Oregon when she was going to college, and it was near Thanksgiving, and she was on one of those call centers, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving. And she was talking to some customer. She was probably 20, 21. And the people on the phone were very nice to her, and they said, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And she said, "Oh, I have no plans." And they invited her for dinner. A total stranger, on the phone, a customer service person. Isn't that amazing? And she went, and it turned her Thanksgiving around. That was 40, 50 years ago. We still are astonished by the kindness of that person. Teresa worked for Portland Community College in the admissions department. And you know what her email password was? Happy to serve. HAPPY to serve. SERVE. She's now retired. No one's using that. But that was her attitude. And you know what she used to get in trouble for from her bosses? Being too nice to the students. Helping foreign students know how to park in a confusing campus. Helping people who were struggling to understand what was going on. You're taking too long. I love that Teresa took too long, that she was happy to serve, that she retired from a place where she gave her love and her heart and soul to her community. And if I was applying for college, I would have been really happy to get in her line. So my whole theme today is watch out for misplaced anger. If you've got some anger, see if you can find an appropriate way to get rid of it. Go to a group, process it, go out in the woods and pound on a log, throw rocks in the river, make a bataka or take a racket and beat your bed with it. But don't hit your kids. Don't take it out on customer service people who have to do this hard job to make a living and put food on their table. Do better than I did. A lot better than I did. I promise you I've cleaned this up. And if you're guilty of some of this stuff, I pray you'll clean it up too. So I'm Linda Schiller Hanna at Inner Kid Keto. I am finding that it's easier to stay on my food recovery program when I'm not all stirred up emotionally, when I'm living clean, gentle, kind lifestyle. That's why I'm talking about these side topics, because all of life comes together. If we have to digest upset emotions, we may be pushing it down with junk food because we have junk feelings. Let's heal our junk feelings so we aren't attracted to junk food. That's it for today. God bless you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Linda Schiller Hanna signing off. Take care.